We're live.
Okay, start.
Yes.
Can you rename, please?
Everyone ready?
Rename,
Oh,
rename, put the titles.
yeah, forgot to put the title. Thank you, Commissioner. Go, right? Good morning. This is the New York City Board of Standards and Appeals review session for July 11th, 2023. Please be reminded there is no public testimony during the review session. The first item up for discussion is zoning calendar continued hearing items, item number 33, 2021-82BZ, 218 Hamilton Avenue, Brooklyn.
The initial hearing on this application was on.
I'm so sorry, Chair, your microphone is not
Everyone's mic on, please.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
perfect.
Okay, the initial hearing on this application was heard on November 15th. The primary question the board had was regarding the number of parking spaces that were being providing much more clarity regarding the demand and supply, and also regarding the operation of the site, specifically about the drop-off and pickup, which would happen at the curbside. Since the action before us is for the reduction of the required parking spaces, I have a question regarding the parking and traffic analysis that was provided. If 80% of the patients that will be coming to this facility will be coming by ambulance and van drop-offs, the patients and they will drop off the patient and leave and also leave for the next pickup. My question is, who is then parking in this garage? So it seems the ambulance and the vans that are coming to drop off or pick up these patients are not going to park in this parking facility. So it's not clear as to what this parking facility is serving. That needs to be clarified. Regarding the traffic analysis, the traffic analysis relies on a similarly sized and programmed located at 16 Summer Place. And the modal split at 16 Summer Place is 21% subway, 43% taxi, 17% auto, 10% walk, and 6% bus. Now, the location of Hamilton Avenue is very different from Summer Place. Specifically, it is not well served by any mass transit, definitely not by subway, and a bus also not as frequent as at Summer Place. So the location of Hamilton Avenue is therefore different, and the temporal distribution would be different at the subject site. And so I want to know if that has been reflected in the analysis, and would that affect the parking demand and thus the findings, and where the ambulance or vans were accounted under. Were they accounted as a taxi or bus or auto? It wasn't quite clear. Also, the analysis failed to provide the curbside utilization for parking, since all of the drop-off and pickup will be at the curbside. Based on the revised plan of two lobbies, the lobby that is located at Lecure Street, that is located at the southern end, will be used by visitors to access the medical office. Now, the entrance to the garage is at the northern end, which is 12 feet from the abutting residential home. Based on the traffic analysis provided, 11 to 12 p.m. during weekday is the peak vehicular accumulation, with 26 vehicles, 13 entering, 13 leaving. So as I understand it, 13 vehicles will be arriving at the site during peak period, and the patients will be dropped off at the curbside, and and then they would either park in the garage, or they would, if they're ambulances and vans, they would just move on. Since Leclerc is a one-way southbound street, where will these vehicles be coming? I mean, it's a one-way street, it's a southbound. So where along this curb cut will they be parking and dropping off and picking up visitors without blocking the one-way street? That is one concern I have. And of course, as the statement said, most of the visitors are physically handicapped, so that's quite a bit of distance for them to walk to or get to the lobby. So my question is still out there: is if you are providing the garage, why aren't you providing a drop off within the garage and minimize the
Loading on
loading on the sidewalk, and for the patient to wait and then have to traverse another few 100 foot to get to the lobby. So I'm still failing to understand the operation and the need for the parking space and who's going to use it and how it's serving the patient community that it's proposing to serve. Those are my questions. Thank you. Vice Chair Shibata.
Thank you, Chair. I have no further comments. I agree with your statements.
Commissioner Otley Brown.
I'm satisfied with both parking studies that they gave us since the beginning of the hearings of this. The first one using the seeker non-transit zone Brooklyn figures, and the second one, which was based on the sister sites, led me to believe that there would be a maximum of 41 spots in demand based on the first report, and far less based on the second report. That, combined with the fact that 80% of these people will be arriving via ambulette because they are severely disabled, led me to believe that there would not be a demand for parking that would exceed the 50% of required parking that they're proposing. So I'm okay with this.
So I have to go back and look at the SECRA transit analysis. So is it fair to say the SECRA transit analysis is the more conservative one?
It appears to be the more conservative one here, because it's the non-transit zone Brooklyn. And I don't quite remember the conversation that we had at the time that resulted in the new study that was based on the sister site. I'm not quite sure of what went on to create that one, but the combination of reading both of them led me to think that, okay, providing the 41 spaces would be enough to satisfy demand at this site. And so I'm actually fine with it.
Okay. Yeah, maybe the applicant can clarify and merge the two analysis and justify how what is being proposed would still meet either the SECRA demand or the sister site. The sister site to me was problematic because while I understand the nature of the service is similar, but because of its location, I don't think it's a really good example. And the analysis just made it apples and apples, and it's not apples and apples. And the analysis should have been tweaked to just to clarify that the location of the subject site is very different, and therefore erring on the conservative side, you balance it out with more estimates and others. So I think that's where I am having a problem with that analysis. But we have two extremes, it seems, from what you're saying. We have the more conservative one, which anticipates a higher demand, versus the Summers one, which anticipates a lower demand. And at this point,
yes, you're right, a higher demand, but a demand that's still accommodated.
This demand that is still
Right,
accommodated,
yeah.
right, that's right. Okay. Thank you. Commissioner Shetta.
Thank you, Chair. I agree that the analysis based on DOT's parameters is usually, in general, it's some sort of conservative. That's why we ask for a parking study based on site surveys. The applicant performed the survey, and he is asserting that the facility that they performed the survey at 16 Summer Place is similar to the subject one. If the applicant can explain to us why he considers the one that's subject to the survey is similar to this, meaning that provide some elaboration on some reasoning why you consider the operations could be the same at the two locations, but the conditions and circumstances around the surveyed facility could be totally different. For example, the public transportation presents around this facility is totally different. Let's say we're talking about the physical therapist here, and if you have like 3 or 4 offices around, that means that the attractability, the amount of traffic that's coming to your location is different if on the subject side you don't have any. So that these kind of items need to be looked at and explained in the submission. And if they pass this, I'm fine with the study they provided.
Thank you. Commissioner Yoon.
Thank you. I had nothing further.
Thank you.
Item number 34, 2022-18BZ, 64 Butler Place, Staten Island.
Okay. Just going through my notes. We heard this application last on June 6th, and the only outstanding issue was regarding the self-created hardship, which I think the question was raised by Commissioner Otley Brown. The applicant has provided its response. I think it was kind of reiterated what was stated at the hearing. I was satisfied with what was stated at the hearing and what is stated in statement of facts, but I want to hear from the other commissioners. Vice Chair Shibeta.
Thank you, Chair. I thought that he broke down the self-created hardship argument and he made it well. I agree with the statement. It is clear that this site could not have been developed any other way. So I am satisfied with this application.
Commissioner Otley Brown.
I very much appreciated the analysis that they gave us about tax lot 54 in its original state and how because of its limited width and its extensive depth, there would be no possible way to break this lot apart in any other way, and to insist that the lots stay in the same original configuration would almost be a taking, because there would be no way to develop it to even anything approaching its potential. And so I'm absolutely satisfied with this application.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Shetta.
Thank you, Chair. I believe 2 headlines came in the submission. The first one, the hardship is not escapable, is inescapable. This is the exact word they used. I don't care about that. Yes, even if it's inescapable, it might be self-created. But the second important one is the lot 54 could not have been subdivided in another way to avoid the hardship. And this was clear in the submission. I did look at 54 and tried to understand whether it could be like reconfigured in a different way. I wasn't successful to do so. So I do believe that they made the case.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Commissioner Yoon.
Thank you. I was also satisfied. I have nothing further.
Okay.
Item number 35, 2022-40BZ, 334 Van Duzer Street, Staten Island.
Sorry. I'm just going through my notes. Okay. The initial hearing on this application was held on April 25th. Board found that the ask is minimal. But the documentation regarding the uniqueness, self-created hardship needed more clarity. The applicant was given some guidance and suggestions. I think the response that was provided has been responsive to those comments, and the uniqueness study also has been revised, and actually it's been more flushed out. Each site has been discussed in more detail. So and the self-created analysis also has been clarified. So I was satisfied with the information that was provided. I want to hear from the other commissioners. Vice Chair Shibata,
No comments. Thank you.
you were satisfied?
I'm satisfied.
Commissioner Otley Brown,
I'm also satisfied and I have no more comments or issues.
okay. Commissioner Shetta,
Thank you, Chair. I'm satisfied with the application.
thank you. Commissioner Yoon,
Thank you. Me as well. I'm also satisfied with the application.
wow, okay. The applicant did a good job. All right, next case.
Next case, item number 36, 2022 41BZ 122-05, Merrick Boulevard, Queens.
Okay, so this is for a drive-through for the new kind of Starbucks facilities that we are seeing. So we have received a DOT sign off, and I think that was one of the outstanding issues of the findings. I though want the applicant during the public review provide an update on the closing and removal of the underground storage tank as to what the status is. And I want to make sure all the comments that DOT has, if there are any comments that need to be reflected in the revised drawings, those have been reflected. Are there any outstanding sign-offs that we need on this? Ms. Benke, Ms. Prenga?
No, there's no other outstanding sign-offs.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Vice Chair Shibata.
Thank you, Chair. I'm satisfied with this application.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Otley Brown,
I am also satisfied with the application.
great, thank you. Commissioner Shetta,
I'm satisfied with the application. Thank you.
Commissioner Yoon,
I am also satisfied with this application.
okay, all right. I just have a question. Do any drawings need to be revised based on the DOT comments?
Tracy.
That's up to the board if you want to add any of the, they did review the plans, DOT reviewed the plans, the most recent plans. So they were satisfied with them as is, but they added 2 conditions that will be in our resolution. So if any of that information needs to be on the plans, we can have them add it.
General Counsel has his hand up.
Yeah, Ms. Banky, for the edification of the record and the board, would you just state what those 2 conditions are that should be included in the reso? And then the board could
Sure.
decide whether they should be included on plan.
Sure, I'll
Sure.
read them. Oh, Ms. Benke, do you want to read it or do you want me to read? You can read it out. Go ahead.
Okay, sure. BSA should include a condition in the approval that the applicant / New York City Department of Buildings, DOB, is required to submit the builder's pavement plan, BPP, and all the required drawings as per New York City DOT specifications and requirements for New York City DOT review and approval. Also, BSA should include a condition that under no circumstances shall motor vehicle queues be allowed to spill back onto Merrick Boulevard, including blockages of the sidewalk because of the operational and safety concerns. If this condition fails to be met during operation of the facility, BSA, in consultation with NYC DOT and DOB, will take action to revoke approvals for the drive-through window and or the curb cut. And then it goes on to say the applicant will be responsible for all costs associated with design and site-related improvements.
Okay, right, okay. All right, and the sidewalk and the curb cut improvements are subject to DOB review and approval also, right? That was that.
DOT, yes.
Great, thank you. I think these are conditions very difficult to put in the plan because it's not specifically talking to the plan. So it is better to be in the resolution
Yeah, they are talking about the operation. Yeah.
or the operation, right? Thank you, Ms. Benke.
Thank you.
Move on. Okay, yes.
Item number 37, 2022-84 BZ, 13309 37th Avenue, Queens.
Okay, the initial hearing was held on June 6th. Community Board has submitted its approval letter for this application. At the last hearing, the board wanted to ensure that the FAA approved points were correctly shown on the BSA plans, and along with that, a topographic survey with the FAA points indicated. The applicant has submitted both of these documents has submitted a topographic survey with the FAA points, and the FAA points have those points have been revised in the drawings, and now all 4 points are within the property, and the drawings have been revised to indicate the slope, basically the slope incline of the I would say the flight path and the FAA range. So I was satisfied with the corrections that were made. I want to thank the applicant and its team. And going forward with all section 66 applications, the applicants are required to provide a topographic map with an FAA approved points or with FAA approved points indicated on those topographic maps, and plans with FAA approved elevation diagrammatically represented as in the subject plan. I think this is a good example. And we can use this as a sample for.
Do you want to put this in the plan?
Yeah, this can be the sample.
Okay.
If we don't have any, but this was a good.
Okay, we'll add it to them.
Right. So I was satisfied with it. I have a question regarding, do we have any, actually, let me go to my fellow commissioners. Vice Chair Shibata.
Thank you, Chair. I am also satisfied with the application. I just want to note that the community board recommendation came in. The meeting was on June 20th, 35 in favor, 5 against, and 1 abstaining.
Okay. Commissioner Otley Brown.
I'm satisfied with the application.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Shetta.
Thank you, Chair. To clarify, the applicant submitted revised drawings, and thanks God, indicating that the 2 points that were previously indicated that they are across the street from the site, they are now shown on the plans to be corners of the site. This is one thing. The second thing is he submitted a certification letter from the surveyor indicating clearly that these 2 points are located at the corners of the subject property, and also submitted a topographic survey for the site. And actually, this is the topographic survey is been, I never seen a case for a flight protection, special permit for a flight protection to the board since I joined without a topographic survey.
Okay,
It's been like the norm for these kind of cases.
okay,
The new thing, and I thank you for that, is to add the points that were submitted to FAA on the survey, not just on the plan. To make sure, look at the elevations, make sure that what was submitted to FAA is accurate, and that's part of our like review of this case. But I'm satisfied with the application based on the submission that's being made.
okay, great, thank you. Commissioner Yoon.
Thank you. I also reviewed the revised drawings and submission, and I am also satisfied with this application. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Commissioner, Ms. Benke, I believe we still have some outstanding issues with the SECRA or any other-
Right, we did receive the revised RAP and CHASP, and we'll be sending it to DEP for final review, hopefully.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, new cases, item number 38, 2022-39BZ and 93-10BZ, 188, 198 Verret Street, Brooklyn.
You're telling her about,
We received
Remember?
proof of
That's
service of
that's-
initial filing and proof of hearing notices. Committee board has voted unanimously to approve this case. This is an application for a special permit pursuant to zoning resolution section 73-19 for the conversion of an existing building to be used in connection with an existing charter school located at 198 Barrett Street, adjacent to the subject site, and an amendment of to the previously approved plan for the existing school at 198 Barrett. So just to clarify, the existing school initially received a special permit, then it received a variance. And now the school, the building right next to the school, abutting the school, the applicant is proposing to convert that. It's an existing garage with a warehouse, to convert that into a facility that will serve the school's need for a gym and additional classrooms for music and exercise rooms. So I have a couple of questions before I get into the findings. The statement of fact states that the new building will allow more effective use of the school's current space. Yoga and dance classes will be converted back to classrooms. I want the applicant to indicate the proposed changes to the existing plan, show the longitudinal sections through the mezzanine floor of the proposed and the existing, and can the proposed building be not ADA, and I think the proposed building is not ADA accessible. There isn't any elevator in the proposed building. All the connectivity to the ground floor and to the second floor is connected through the existing building. However, the mezzanine floor is not accessible from the existing building. So the mezzanine floor is not ADA accessible. And the question is there an equivalent space that is ADA accessible that would be used? And going back to the question that I raised was, since the statement of fact stated that the some of the spaces that is being proposed in the new building would then free up some of the spaces in the existing. My question is, would that require, that is part of the amendment to the plans, but it wasn't quite clear in the plans as to where they were located, and the statement of fact also was not clear about that. Will that result in an increase in classrooms, or will that be used for other such spaces that would serve the interests of the students? And the reason for asking that question is because the applicant states that there will not be an increase in the enrollment capacity. So that's why I just want to make sure whether this would result in it, the change in these uses would result in enrollment or not. And I think that's really what I'm getting. With regards to the findings for section under section 7319, I was satisfied with finding A, which is in this case, the search was conducted for a gym facility located within 1/4 mile from the school. And they did identify 2 sites that were available for sale, but these sites ended up being very small lots or with narrow frontages that ended up being not very suitable for conversion for a high school gym. So I was satisfied with the response for finding A. With regards to finding B, the site is located within 400 feet from an R6 zoning district. It meets there for finding B. With regards to finding C, a noise analysis was conducted within the existing building, and the existing building is made of masonry. So the applicant is stating that it will provide appropriate noise attenuation and would achieve the noise level, interior noise level of 45 dBA, and therefore it would meet finding C. With regards to finding D, I had some questions, and that is, first of all, there's a little bit of a discrepancy in the statement of facts. In one place, it says there are 14 organized sports team, and another place it says 12. So please just clarify that. What I wanted to know is when these sports teams are created, it also you're also hosting pro games. So then there are visitors that are coming. And then my question is, how is that being done? Are then students just coming by subway, or they're being dropped off by bus? And are these open to parents and families to watch? So is that causing any gathering outside? Is there enough capacity within the building for people to be contained without spilling over onto the sidewalk? So those are my basic questions. But overall, I think the ask is reasonable. I think most of the findings are met. I just need more clarification with regards to finding D. Vice Chair Shibata.
Thank you, Chair. I too believe that they met the first three findings. I believe that finding D, I was going through their response to DOT. I do think that perhaps a little bit more clarification as to how they intend to operate the gym area would be important for the record, but I'm generally very close to satisfied with this application.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Otley Brown.
So I found that they met finding A because they actually have a very narrow area of opportunity to find sites, because it's just a 1/4 mile radius. And so therefore it makes sense that you would only find 2 sites for sale at any given time. And it turns out that those 2 sites are narrow and also occupied at this point in time residential, which means that you can't just evict everybody and tear down the building or retrofit it. So I'm satisfied with that. I'm satisfied with the C finding that, you know, through their brick frontage and whatever windows being double pane windows would limit the amount of sound that's penetrating both into the site and then out of the site from the noise of the gym. So I feel that they satisfied that. As for the D finding, I feel like they are high school students. I agree with the applicant, and high school students do, you know, are accustomed to traveling independently to and from school and to after school programs and sports events. When you live in New York City, it's just something that, you know, you learn. And certainly having 3 young people that I raised within the city limits, each one of them by the time they reached high school had to travel by themselves to sports practices and sports games and all sorts of things that were not on site in that school. It was often a half an hour away, sometimes even an hour away. They had to get there on their own and get home on their own. And so I feel confident that these young people will be able to do that. I'm satisfied that the school body will at least manage the pedestrian, you know, arrival and dismissal by placing staff members on the street to certainly ensure that the students are orderly and file into the school, file out, and disperse at the end of the day. And as for the sports teams and possible competition, I believe that they said that there's only one type of sport that could be accommodated
Volleyball.
in terms of, right, official competitions that would bring other people to the school, and that's volleyball. So they could discuss whether or not they expect to see a large amount of visitors to the site when they hold those league volleyball games. But other than that, I found that they satisfied the findings.
I think my because this is an independent building and there are means of exit, my concern was that the entrance to this facility directly from the street is too small if you're hosting a game. And will instead the main entrance to the building, to the school, be used for even for hosting games. If that is the case, then there is enough space in the lobby to contain the visitors, the players, the team, and then ushered into the arena. So that to me was not very clear. I'm told that the statement of fact does say that the school's existing entrance will still be the primary entrance, but it wasn't clear whether that would continue to serve when you have after-school events and sports meets. So that is the clarification I'm looking for from the applicant. Commissioner Sheta.
Thank you, Chair. I do believe that the ask is small. I believe they met the findings, all of them, including the D1. The only thing I would ask them to do is looking at the statement of facts. There is a statement that says that no growth in the student population. When you read that on cases like these, usually people come to us to ask for enlargements or new school, even new location because of a growth in the population for students. In this case, this is not the case here. Saying that we're gonna be able to do more gym, more yoga, more dancing. More is better, but it need to be another reason to grant a special permit like this. In my opinion, it should be that the existing is not sufficient, it's not enough, it's not satisfying the needs, it's not up to the standards, then we take it from there. I believe this is the only point that they need to elaborate on.
I think the applicant did state that the basketball court is definitely not high school standard. Their facilities, and if you look at the plan, they do not even have a gym right now. It's like piecemeal of aerobics room and a yoga room and something like that. So they do not even have an official sports, they do not have an official gym. They do
Yeah,
not.
I know.
So, and for all, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no,
Vice Chair.
I don't want to cut you off, Chair.
No, so I think their justification was just centered around the sports activity. And in that, I felt satisfied, but the applicant can answer your question, stating as to what the current facility, the sports facilities they have on site and how they're inadequate. But I think that was stated in narratives. I thought so. Maybe I misrepresented.
Maybe it wasn't clear enough to me.
I just want to add,
Vice Chair Shibata.
thank you, Chair. I just want to add, this is under 7319. It's not a variance that way.
Yes, I understand.
I agree.
I 100% agree, yes.
And I just want to add in, as such, it's not programmatic needs driven
Mhm.
in the way
Yeah.
that a variance
Right.
is. It could just be that they want more space. It could be as simple as that. They don't have to justify it. What they have to do is ensure that the students in this space in an industrial area are safe.
Mhm.
And to that end, I do believe that they provided some justification as to what they need the site, the usage for, certainly enough that would do that satisfy the
Yeah.
practical possibility
Right.
portion.
Yeah, I think in terms of the safety of the children, definitely, instead of them having to go to all different facilities and losing time in traveling back and forth, this definitely reduces that, and you have better oversight of the students and their activities.
I didn't say this is a variance, yes, I understand, it's a special permit. And I'm not saying this is gonna make him
Yeah.
make the case, it's gonna strengthen the case, make the argument probably stronger. That's what I was talking
Okay.
about. Thank you.
Thank you for that clarification. Commissioner Yoon.
Thank you. I feel very satisfied today, but I was also satisfied with this application, and I thought the explanation of their needs and the current sort of inadequacies of the existing school building were appropriate and substantive. So I am satisfied with this case. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, great. Let's give 10 minutes for the applicant teams to
Gather themselves.
gather themselves, because we got this done in 37 minutes.
That's a record.
Like the old days.
satisfied.
Mostly satisfied, but maybe the applicant team wasn't expecting to get on board so quickly. So let's give them, 10 minutes, 10 minutes. Yeah.
appeal, right?
No, that was over there. Are we live? Yeah, we should be live. Okay. Good afternoon, good morning.
It's still morning.
Good morning. Good morning. The Board of Standards and Appeals Public Hearing for July 11, 2023. This, first item up is zoning calendar, continuing hearing items, item number 33, 2021 82 BZ 218 Hamilton Avenue, Brooklyn.
I think this is Miss Fullader.
Over there. People have their hands up.
Hi, I should have an Abigail Schwartzman. Do you see her?
Not currently. There's no one in the attendees room with that name.
Okay, and I should also have Hiram.
Hiram was admitted.
What?
Hiram has been admitted.
Oh,
He's in
great,
the-
great, thank you. I said on now, so hopefully I can also give her a call if we need. Oh, she said I'm up, or,
I don't see it.
no, did she?
Iron there.
I really want, can't do this without her.
Ms.
Okay.
Pranga, could you just share the public hearing login info for Ms. Fullader's client? Thank you.
I can try without her, but I really want her to speak about her site. She's very knowledgeable.
Would it be beneficial if we second called the case, Ms. Fullader?
If you, what? Oh, second call, yeah, maybe can you do my second case and then come back to it? Because that'll be quick. Like the next case is also.
Okay, all right. Yeah, next case is yours. So we will do a second call on.
Okay.
Okay, let's go
Okay,
to the
so
second.
let's go to item number 34, 2022 18 BZ, 64 Butler Place, Staten Island. Is that the owner, you're by yourself with that?
Yeah, no one's named it.
Okay. Do you affirm, raise your right hand, do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? In your testimony?
I do. Oh,
Okay,
Let's try it again.
start again, and could you, lighten up your, screen?
yeah, I'm having trouble with the lights
Okay.
in my home. Nothing's working.
Okay, wait till you settle down. It's like an apartment tour.
Yeah, sorry. And it's very dark outside today, so.
Raise your right hand. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this board, and to respond honestly to board member questions?
I do, thank you.
For the record and proceed.
Elise Fullader from Eric Palatnik PC. Thank you so much. We heard your comments and we really appreciate the time you took to review it. And I don't believe there is anything else to discuss.
Great. Let's go to the public.
The case we are currently discussing is 2022 18 BZ, 64 Butler Place, Staten Island. Should you wish to discuss, dial 646-558-8656 or a toll-free number 888-475-4499. You will enter webinar ID number 831-8598-5133 and press the pound sign. At the next prompt, you will press the pound sign only. Once you're permitted in, you will press *9 to raise your hand, press 6 to unmute to be able to speak up when you call in on the phone. And if you're in the Zoom room already, please raise your Zoom hand. Once you've been acknowledged, you will have 3 minutes in which to discuss.
I don't think we have anything outstanding with regards to environmental review, Ms. Benke.
That's correct. This is type 2. Excuse me.
Sorry. We're just waiting for the, thank you, Ms. Benke.
Waiting for the clock.
Just waiting for the clock.
Hi, are you waiting for me? Sorry.
No, it's waiting for the clock.
We're waiting for the clock.
We have a timer to give enough time to the members of the public to call in.
All right, okay. I don't think we have any issues with wanting to close this case. All right, let's close then.
Motion to close has been made. Chair Shanda,
Aye.
Vice Chair Kubota,
Aye.
Commissioner Otto Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Sheta,
Aye.
Commissioner Yoon.
Aye.
Okay, are we ready, Ms. Fullader?
Yeah, she should be on now.
Abigail Sport,
Yes,
Schwartzman,
yes.
please
Thank you.
join. Please unmute and join us with video, please, if you can.
Ms. Matias, could you please recall this case? This is for the.
Oh, I'm sorry, thank you. We are recalling item number 33, 2021-82BZ, 218 Hamilton Avenue, Brooklyn.
Thank you so
Thank-
much. Thank you for accommodating us.
Okay, Ms. Schwartzman and Mr. Rothberg. Who's
Mhm.
Mr. Schwartzman?
That's
Other-
it.
Okay, everybody's in the dark, it's hard to see them. Raise your right hands. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this board and to respond honestly to board member questions?
I do. Thank you so much. We heard your comments this morning and we'll go through them, and I'm going to go question by question, and then Abigail and Hiram can help answer them. So your first question was about who is parking in the garage if 80% of the ambulance will be coming and dropping off. Abigail, going to turn to you and then we could go to the next question. Oh, she's connecting to audio.
Maybe this worked?
Yeah, we can hear you. So the
Okay,
first
thank
question,
you so much.
yeah, the first question was about if 80% of people are coming via ambulance, who is parking in the garage?
Okay, it's a great question. Most of the people are coming by ambulette. There are, of course, doctors and staff that do come, although we do have a staff van that comes and picks people up. There's always, certain administrative people that come with cars, and there's other patients that do come with cars. So it's good to have a few spots available for those individuals so that they're not crowding the neighborhood.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, is that sufficiently answer that question? I guess they all connect, because the next question you talked about modal split, and there was an ongoing conversation about how the old parking study was more conservative and the new one, we compared it to a site, and then is that site appropriate for comparison? And I also wanted Abigail to explain to you why we chose that site for a comparison.
Yes, so there's a few sites that Ahava runs out of. This one I felt was the most similarly situated as the Hamilton Avenue site. Sumner Place is a small street. It's a one-way street with parking on both sides. And the way that we decided to have the patient drop off mimics exactly that site. Although there is public transportation in the area, the majority of the patients do not use the public transportation. And the workers as well do not use the public transportation in order to get to the site. So I felt due to the close quarter, which was really the more appropriate, it's a very heavy traffic area, actually much heavier than Hamilton Avenue, but it's a heavy traffic area, small street, which I felt would kind of mimic the conditions of Hamilton Avenue, rather than the other sites, which have much wider streets, have schools close to it, which wouldn't really give the same conditions in reality than the Hamilton Avenue and Sumner Place one. It was the most similar.
Okay.
Does that answer any questions about that? Or-
And in that location also, are patients dropped off at the curbside and then
That is exactly how it works. We are really copying and pasting from all of them have patient drop-offs in front, where usually it's a patient van, some type like an accessoride, and a van that has wheelchair accessibility or different setups for people that have mobility issues. They're brought to the curb, dropped off curbside. Many will have either some type of mobility assistance, a wheelchair, walker, canes, such as, items like that. And many will have an aid with them, an actual additional person to help them go from the van into the lobby and use the elevator, or go straight back into the, in Sumner Place, there's basically straight back to the, some doctors, and then some doctors some modes of physical therapy are upstairs and they use the elevator once they're inside the lobby.
Okay. Just one second, Commissioner Sheta. Can these be what was just stated by Ms. Schwartzman? Can those be elaborated in your statement of facts? Findings?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Understood. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, Commissioner Sheta.
Yeah, so I buy the argument about that, like the proximity to public transportation because of the nature of the patients who are coming to the facility. But how about similar practices in the area? Are they like similar and like if you have this office is going to be for physical therapists, do you have like similar practice around the one that's in operation and around the one that's proposed? Are they similar in that aspect?
Are the services similar? I think he's asking.
I'm not talking about the
Right?
service between the
No?
two. If you have one of the locations with, let's say, 4 similar offices around it, the traffic that's coming to that location would be less from the other one because the other one doesn't have like similar practice around. You know what I'm talking about?
I think I understand. If I could maybe rephrase it just to make sure I'm understanding your question. Are you asking that the sites that were compared, are they also comparable in that around their area, around their vicinity, there is dissimilar, or there's similar or dissimilar other practices as to make the traffic less of a burden on one or the other facilities? Is that the question?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So both for Sumner Place and for Hamilton Avenue, there's no other facility that is in a proximity that would affect whether a patient is going to one or the other. In Hamilton Avenue, there is a reasonably close other facility that does not offer the same type of medical care and different services that AHAVA will be providing. Actually, at the neighborhood meeting, we had discussed that as well, and it's quite far. It's quite far from Hamilton Avenue, and it doesn't offer the same services. And in the Williamsburg, the Sumner Place as well. Sumner Place is close to a hospital. But the hospital does not offer the same services. So I don't think that is, I don't think proximity is affecting congestion or the amount of patients and cars to come.
Okay, thank you. If you can just mention that in the statement, thank you.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
Not a problem.
Yeah. And then there was a question about, and we kind of touched on it, about drop off and pickup and the one-way street. And Hiram can speak on this further, but we can request from DOT a no standing zone in front of the site, if that was a suggestion.
I think, yeah. My concern is that it shouldn't block any flow of traffic. It's a narrow street. So it's a quiet street, so you might be able to, and towards the end, there aren't any residential buildings towards the end of Lacour and Hamilton. So
Yeah.
That might be a way to ensure that you will have a very safe transition of your patient pool from the vehicle onto. And, I also don't know, like sometimes accessoride vans, you only have doors opening on one side. And if that is opening on the traffic side, then that is not only a nuisance for the southbound vehicles on Leclerc, but also a safety concern for your patient. So that is something, you need to look at also and make sure that that is not happening. And so having a curbside pickup and drop off would provide an added level of safety.
Understood. And I guess the next question is, Abigail, I think, explained very well how her site works. Is there any questions for how to Hiram about how you want the parking study?
Oh, sorry, you couldn't hear the last bit of your statement.
Okay, sorry. I was saying that I think Abigail just explained to us very well how the site works, but is there any way the parking study has to be tweaked? Because I know we talked about the old one and the new one and kind of following a balance.
So I think Commissioner Otley Brown put it very well, that there two studies were done. There was the analysis, a study that was done using a sample site and a study that was done using the SECRA standards. And based on both of these standards, the demand that is projected is being met on site. And that those two elements need to be combined and stated in your statement of findings.
Okay.
Okay, because and added to that is what Ms. Schwartzman said about why the site was picked, the sample site was picked, given some of similar issues, heavy traffic, you have a narrow street, and you have a similarly high volume of people taking vans, even though it is well served by mass transit. So factoring all the similar features and similar program and services that are being provided, applying those similar tools, you also didn't need, my question was, why aren't you tweaking the modal split?
Okay.
Well, but in this case, if you're saying your modal split will be similar, or the modal split that's been analyzed for the SECRA purposes is the conservative one, and based on that, you still are meeting the demand, then you've shown the two extremes.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you. And thank you for helping me, flesh that out.
So just kind of flush that out in your narrative by stating how you're meeting that finding.
Okay, cool. Any questions? The next question is any questions? Tracy, sorry.
Yeah, Ms. Benke?
Yes, I also think the EAS should be updated. Would you like both? So you want both studies in the EAS and the narrative to address both of them as well?
Yes.
Okay. So the final EAS will have the WRP sign off, which we already received, and both parking studies referenced and included.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments or clarification we need from Ms. Fullader and her team? All right, let's then go to the public.
The case we are currently discussing is 2021-82BZ 218 Hamilton Avenue, Brooklyn. Should you wish to discuss, dial 646-558-8656 or our toll-free number 888-475-4499. At the prompt, you will enter the webinar ID number 831-8598-5133 and press the pound sign. At the next prompt, you'll press the pound sign only. Once you're permitted in, you will press *9 to raise your hand, *6 to unmute to be able to speak on the phone. And if you're in the Zoom room already and wish to discuss, please raise your Zoom hand, which is the little hand on the bottom of your screen. Once you are acknowledged, you will have 3 minutes in which to discuss.
So I have a question with regards to the no parking on sidewalk request to DOT. Shouldn't that be also done before we sign off on the EAS? Because that is one of the elements of the findings.
Who answers this question?
I think this is a question for Ms. Benke.
Okay. You're on mute.
Sorry. If it's a requirement for the findings, it's up to the board. I don't think it would be a requirement for the EAS.
Okay. It won't be a requirement for the EAS, but it is a finding of the board, but that means the request to DOT should be made now. That's really what I'm getting at.
And if we make, I guess my question is, we can make the request after this, but what's the situation with them getting back to us? I don't, I know DOT.
I can't answer that because it's a different department, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay. What is the process? I'm not familiar with the process at all of making this request and how quickly this can be achieved.
Hiram, do you have any experience in that?
I don't, but I don't.
Okay, I know we've done it before with other sites that had, like on Nostrand, we made a request, but I don't remember how long it took them to get back to us or if they committed in the time.
And I'm not sure if the building has to be complete at that time. I'm not sure.
Right.
Resolution.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it might have to be close.
It needs to be closed.
I will note that 16 Sumner has an ambulate only zone in front of it.
It does have an ambulance only
Yeah.
zone.
And when you look through the historical photos on Google Maps, it's 50% of the time, it's always an ambulate that's a Hava or a accessoride.
Okay.
Anyway, just as proof of what you guys are stating, but there is a sign in front of that facility, so I think it'd be possible to get one here.
Right.
Is it?
That's okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
we do it all the time for schools and hospitals and other things, so it shouldn't take DOT a long time to review and sign off.
So then that would be part of the condition of the grant, getting a no parking sign.
We could put a note on the plans that says, final location to be determined by DOT or something like that.
So the plans would need to be revised to indicate an area that you think you would be requesting for no parking. So revise that plan and then we can, and then adding that note that Ms. Benke stated.
Understood.
And perhaps DOT likes when you say for illustrative purposes only, because the location could change, or exact dimensions.
And if you want to send me, if it's okay, the language of that note, we'll just make sure it's exactly what you want.
Sure.
Okay.
So I can, Oh, how much time? I think we can make all these changes and the request because everything's been stated pretty fast, but I guess my question is if it's going to be on condition, is it possible to close or do you want to see, what are you looking for here?
We can close. I think there is only limited space within which you can have the drop-off area. I would though make the suggestion, don't do the drop-off closer to the residential, make it further away from the residential. Would be from the curb cut of the garage to the lobby area. Because this way you're at least not affecting the residential use, disrupting their peace and quiet by having the drop off next to them. I think that length from the garage to the lobby entrance for public should be sufficient for you to accommodate all your ambulance drop off and pick up.
Makes sense.
Okay. Commissioner Yoon, I'm looking towards you since you're the architect and
Location of the loading zone? Yeah, surely it should be further from the residential. I mean, you have some space there, but you get pretty close to the intersection.
Your photo, because your computer's told
Oh,
it up.
Oh,
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Sorry. I'm not on screen. But everybody knows me. Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. So you will revise the statement of fact, you'll revise the plan, add the note that would be provided by Ms. Benke and Right, and in your statement also, you will refer to that no parking zone that would be provided.
Mhm.
With that understanding, I'm satisfied, it meets the findings. And I'm ready to close on this. Everybody's okay with that?
Yes.
Okay, all right, motion to close.
Chair Shanda,
Aye.
Vice Chair Shibata,
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Seta,
Aye.
Commissioner Yoon.
Aye.
Thank you so much.
Okay, and.
Thank you all.
And
When do you, when do you want, when will you be able to make the submission?
I think since Hiram, we have to do our DOT request, I guess, how long you think, like 2 weeks, 3 weeks? Hiram, do you have?
Yeah, yes, yeah.
Okay.
Right away.
Okay, yeah, but I'm saying, I think just give us like a few weeks. And I know your calendar's really busy anyway, so I think that will work out for both of us.
Great, thank you. Thank you all. Really appreciate.
you.
Thank you, guys.
You joining and providing the response.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
We'll see you in a minute, Elise. Item number 35, 2022 40 BZ, 334 Van Duzer Street, Staten Island. Ron Rosati, please join us. Who's hosting? Let Mr. Rosati in, please. Good morning. Would you raise your right hand?
Why is Ms. Pollard still on this?
Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this board and to respond honestly to board member questions?
Yes, I do.
Oh, okay.
Good afternoon, Commissioners, Madam Chair, Ron Rosati for the applicant. I don't believe there were any comments for me to address, and I ask that the hearing be closed. Thank you.
That your co-applicant?
Yes, he's sleeping today, thankfully.
Let's hurry this up.
All right,
Baby.
let's go. I unfortunately have to go to the public, so let's go to the.
The case we're currently discussing is 2022 40 BZ 334 Van Duzer Street, Staten Island. Should you wish to discuss, please dial 646-558-8656 or a toll 888-475-4499. You will enter the webinar ID number 831-8598-5133 and press the pound sign. At the next prompt, you will press the pound sign only. Once you're permitted in, you press *9 to raise your hand, *6 to unmute to be able to speak if you're calling in on the phone. And if you're in the Zoom room already, please raise your Zoom hand, which is the little hand at the bottom of your screen. Once you're acknowledged, you will have 3 minutes in which to discuss.
There's no submission that is required, so. We just need the time to run out. Okay. All
I see
right,
no one in the room.
no one in the room.
Shoot.
Before we wake up the
Baby.
co-applicant.
Yes.
All right. I make a motion to close.
Chair Shanda,
Aye.
Vice Chair Shibata,
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Sheta,
Aye.
Commissioner Yoon.
Aye.
Thank you, Board. Have a great day.
Thank you. Good seeing you.
Item number 36, 2022 41 BZ 12205 Merrick Boulevard, Queens.
Okay, that would be Miss Pollard again.
Hi, is it brighter now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Hi.
The sun come out.
I just switched the angle because the sun's from here.
Okay, do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this board and respond to the board member questions?
I do. Thank you so much. Elise Fullader from American Latin PC. I told no one that they have to appear, so no one from the team should be here. And we appreciate your comments and thank you. I don't think there's anything to add.
Thank you. No questions, right? For, let's go.
The tanks, you wanted an update
Oh,
on the
right. Oh, no,
tanks.
no. Thank you. Thank you for reminding me. I did have a question. Yes.
Yeah.
What is the status of the
Removal.
update on the removal of the UST closing and?
I know- I know they're being removed, but if I could get back to you in writing about the status, or, oh yeah, because this is a hearing. So yeah, if I can get back to you in writing about the status on the submission date, I'll make sure whatever the status is on that day, that you have an update.
Yes, do put it in writing in terms of what is being, timeline and what is happening.
Oh, at a time, yeah,
So it's closing and removal, as I understand.
yes, correct.
Great. So if you can just put that in a letter. Let's go to the public then.
The case we are currently discussing is 2022-41 BZ 12205 Merrick Boulevard, Queens. Should you wish to discuss, dial 646-558-8656 or a toll-free number, which is 888-475-4499. At the prompt, you will enter the webinar ID number 831-8598-5133 and press the pound sign. At the next prompt, you will press the pound sign only. Once you're in, press *9 to raise your hand, *6 to unmute to be able to speak if you're calling in on the phone. And if you're in the Zoom room already, please raise your Zoom hand, which is the little hand at the bottom of your screen. Once you've been acknowledged, you will have 3 minutes in which to discuss. I should do a recording of this. Almost done.
Okay.
Almost done. Camera's off.
Okay.
No attendees.
I then make a motion to close.
Chair Shanda,
Aye.
Vice Chair Shabeta,
Hi.
Commissioner Otley Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Sheta,
Aye.
Commissioner Yoon.
Aye.
All right,
Thank you so much.
thank you. How much time you'll need to submit that?
Oh,
letter?
Few days, whatever the status is, the owner's very communicative, so he'll let me know whatever the status is the day I need.
Okay.
So whatever works for you.
All right. Item number 37, 2022-84 BZ, 13309 37th Avenue, Queens.
I think this is Mr.
John
Bean.
Oh, Ms. Banky has her hand up.
Oh, yes, Ms. Benke.
I can wait till John's here, but I just wanted to update something I said earlier.
Oh, okay.
All right, John, you're by yourself?
I don't believe anyone else will be testifying. There may be some names that I asked to be present, but I actually don't see them, so it's just me.
Okay, raise your right hand. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this board and to respond honestly to board member questions?
I do, yes. Good morning. John Ignatius Bean for the applicant.
I just wanted to say that after the review session, we reviewed the DEP hazmat letter, and DEP did not require reviewing the RAP and CHASP again. So staff reviewed the submission that was made yesterday, and we find that it closes out this hazardous materials review. So there's no other reviews open.
Great,
Good.
thank you.
It's like Columbo. She just comes in and saves the day.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tracy.
Ms. Benke is excellent in what she does, and we really appreciate the
Agreed.
detail and thoroughness that she puts in.
And thank you to Jella as well.
Yes.
Yes.
And thank you, the commissioners, for your patience in our team getting our statements together for this matter as well.
Well, at the end, the application looks good. We are going to use it as a sample. So thank you.
Thank you.
Let's go to the public.
Okay. The case that we're currently discussing is, sorry, 2022-84 BZ, 13309 37th Avenue, Queens. If you wish to discuss, dial 646-558-8658 or our toll-free number, which is 888-475-4499. At the prompt, you will enter the webinar ID number 831-8598-5133 and press the pound sign. At the next prompt, you will press the pound sign only. Once you're permitted in, you will press *9 to raise your hand, *6 to unmute to be able to speak if you're calling in on the phone. And if you're in the Zoom room already, please raise your Zoom hand, which is the little hand at the bottom of your computer screen. Once you've been acknowledged, you will have 3 minutes in which to discuss.
There is no additional submission that is required for this. We just,
No submission, right?
yeah.
I'm gonna put that on quicker.
We're just waiting for the clock to run.
Okay. Timer is down.
Okay, make a motion to close.
Chair Shonda?
Aye.
Vice Chair Shabeta?
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown?
Aye.
Commissioner Sheta?
Aye.
Commissioner Yoon?
Aye.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Bean.
Thank you, everyone.
Good seeing you.
Have a good
Thank-
summer.
Same.
Final item is new case is item number 38, 2022-39 BZ and 93-10 BZ, 198 Varick Street, Brooklyn. Who's doing this, Jeff, or?
Yeah, I don't.
Should be Pat Sullivan.
Oh, Pat.
Oh, okay, Pat.
Thank you, Jella. Don't see him in the room.
Yeah, he's not in the room.
He's in?
I'll give him a quick call.
Your arm looks good on the screen. Yeah. Your arm was showing the screen. I didn't know what it was. I looked at it. Really, you put your laptop down.
He's on the phone with me and he is trying to join in. Thank you.
I guess I didn't realize we were so fast.
David Briggs, Ed Jose, Jason Diaz are also part of his team, and Patrick Sullivan just joined. So all of those members.
Thank you, Jella.
Hello, good morning. Patrick Sullivan from Kramer Levin for the applicant. We're just getting the team on as I see them now. Thank you for hearing this item this morning. And we did.
Wait, Mr. Sullivan, sorry to interrupt you. I have to swear everyone in.
Oh,
So wait, is
We
the
also
team?
have, yes, and Mr. Sullivan, we also have a couple more members in the attendee room. Elisa Georgery, Manny Morales, and Valerie Jacobson. Just let us know if any of those are part of your team.
Yes, they're all part of our team.
Okay, we will let them all in and we will
Thank
swear everyone in.
Okay, so could everyone unmute, please? And put your video up. Mr. Jacobson and Mr. Morales, could you unmute, please? Thank you. I think I have everyone, right? Okay, so raise your right hands, please. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this board and to respond honestly to board member questions?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
I do.
Okay.
Please proceed, Mr. Sullivan.
Yes.
Great. Thank you to the board for hearing our item. We listened to the review session and your questions. I'm Pat Sullivan from Kramer Levin for the applicant. I'd just like to begin by having the head of school, Shahid Bashir, talk a little bit about the school and give some background. And then I'd like to turn it over to the architect, Ed Jose, and the school's head of operations, Valerie Jacobson, who can answer some of the specific questions. Okay.
Sure.
All right.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Jahid Bashir. I'm head of school for Williamsburg Charter High School. So just some brief facts about our school. So we are one of the oldest charter high schools in New York City. We are currently approved for 963 students. It's important to note at this time we will not be increasing our enrollment. We serve a population of about 60% Latino students and 40% African American. We've been in existence since 2004. We've been in our current location since about 2010. So we're familiar with the neighborhood. Parents know us, families know us, and so forth. This building is extremely important because it will provide more space for us, classroom space, more adequate physical education space. This means a couple of things, right? So not only is it a place for our athletes to practice, so our sports teams, but it also will be used for PE classes. Currently, and I know Ms. Jacobson will speak about this later, we use about 4 regular classrooms for PE. And so again, having this additional space will enable us to offer smaller class sizes for our PE classes and just really more robust opportunity for students. For example, a computer lab and some other things that we want to do inside our current facility. So again, more opportunities for students, smaller class sizes, and practice for our existing sports teams.
Okay, thank you so much. And so Ed Jose, the architect, is here, and I was hoping that he could just pull up the plans on the screen to talk briefly about the building and show you the access points. which I know was a question you had. Ed, are you there?
Mr. Jose, you are muted if you're speaking.
I can't see the screen.
If Mr. Jose is speaking, we can't hear
There
him.
he goes. There he
I'm
is.
just unmuted. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes. Well,
Not
Can't
not
see the
you.
screen any longer.
We don't
Yeah.
see the screen you're sharing.
You see the screen I'm sharing now?
no.
No,
You had it a moment ago.
Ed, it was up there.
I know it's
There you go.
yes, we see the screen now.
That's good. Work with that, Ed.
And now you're muted again, Mr. Rose. Jose, Mr. Jose, you're muted.
I'm not sure why that happened, but when I jumped to the presentation,
Okay,
This
so
is
right
fine.
now you're good.
Perfect.
Right now you're good.
Perfect.
So proceed. Don't touch anything. Just proceed.
okay, the presentation is not on my screen now.
Oh, no.
And
Okay,
I
well, look,
can't-
we can,
so I can't control it.
Who's controlling it? Says head
Mike.
Jose.
I thought it was so. If I need to switch to the actual presentation to control it. So if I do that, let me know if I get muted again.
okay.
How's that?
We're okay.
You can hear me and you can see it?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. This is the front facade of the 180 Barrett Street, the existing storage warehouse. Over here is the site plan. The top of the screen is Barrett Street, and that's where you enter. And this is a bird's eye view. In red is the proposed gymnasium at 180 Barrett Street, and beside it to the left is the existing high school at 198 Barrett Street. This is an exonometric of
Sorry, I put the right.
proposed.
Sorry about that.
Okay, Ed, you want to just show the access points? Yeah, okay.
So the access point at the top of the screen, Barrett Street, the entrance is right on the left corner, left-hand corner. And you enter here into the gymnasium proper. There's stairs going up to the mezzanine. And there's a small office here. And then the stairs continue up and turn up to the second story, where there's also will be renovated for flexible classroom spaces. And there are connections to 198 Barrett on the first floor right here with the double doors. And then also at the second floor where there will be an ADA lift to connect the two.
So my question was, students during their regular gym classes, I'm assuming they will be going through the connections that are provided on the first floor and on the second floor to get to this facility, and then use the stair to go to the mezzanine level.
That's correct.
Okay. So the question I have is, the program that is going to be provided in the mezzanine level, it won't be accessible to, it won't be ADA accessible. So I'm assuming you'll be providing similar program for students who will not be able to access it on a floor which would be ADA accessible.
I'd like to have Valerie Jacobson, who's the head of operations from the school, talk about that. And just to point out, these are flexible spaces to be added on the mezzanine and the second floor. So I do believe that the programming can fit what the school needs at the time and that class.
Okay. All right.
But
Yes.
what, can we
So
have
let me
that,
put the
Valerie?
second, let me also put the second question because maybe Ms. Jacobson can answer that also. And that was regarding when you do have leagues, sometimes you might be hosting those on your site. Will the teams, guest teams that will be coming to the site and visitors coming to the game, will they be accessing the site from the main entrance from Barrett to the gym directly or through the school main entrance? And the reason for asking that question is to just make sure there is enough holding area for all the visitors and guests in the building and not overflowing onto the sidewalk.
Yes, access will be through our school's main entrance. And in addition, regarding use of the new gym space, we do not anticipate having spectator space in the area. There is room for the games. The only regulation games that can occur based on the size would be the volleyball games. And there, as you can see, regarding the volleyball court, there's really only room for each team, right? Which is a maximum of 12 people on each team, including alternates, and then the coaches for each team. So maybe one coach plus an assistant coach for each team. So 28 people maximum. And we do not have spectators at our games.
Okay. Okay. That is the clarification I was looking for.
Right, and I think that they're saying that the new entrance could be used, the existing entrance could be used. There are a few access points here. Did we answer? But would you like Ms. Jacobson to speak about the use of the spaces?
Sure.
So yes, when regarding the mezzanine area, yes, that is flexible space, and comparable programming will go on in the second floor space, right? So that the students can access that, right, via the elevator in our existing building, right, and then go down the path and the lift to the same programming on the second floor. Alternatively, we also could use the space on the first floor where, yes, the students will enter, during from the regular school into the new gym.
Okay. Something, I think Mr. Bashir, if I'm sorry, I apologize if I didn't get the name correctly, also mentioned that some of the existing spaces that are being used for physical education programs will be converted back to uses that would serve the current student capacity. So if you could just also elaborate on that in your statement, the kind of programs like the computer programs and other things. This way, at least on the record, it's very clear that there is no increase in enrollment. It's really serving the existing population, but providing more educational opportunities on site.
Yes, we are not increasing enrollment. So presently there are 4 spaces that we have been utilizing for our gym classes. One of the rooms is room 401, which is actually our dance studio. And because we don't have enough PE space, we have been using that as our yoga room. So the yoga classes could now actually occur in the new gym spaces. And we will have, a full 8 periods available for the performing arts dance electives. Again, making sure that our students get their educational opportunities and the gym opportunities in gym areas. Room 315 has been used as an aerobic space. And this can go back to classroom type space or computer lab space, as Principal Bashir discussed. Again, this wouldn't require any alterations, right? We're just changing the location of the classroom. So now aerobics can take place in the new gym facility instead of in this repurposed classroom space.
Great.
And then regarding the other classes that we use, we have on the first floor, we use room 129, which is about 1,100 square feet. That is our largest gym space that we have. This does not fit a regulation basketball court. It also does not fit a regulation volleyball court. So we have no existing regulation volleyball court or even half court basketball in our current space. But that is the room that we primarily use for our PE classes. And then the room that is contiguous with that is the fitness center or weight room, room 130, which is about, about 950 square feet, but that has our weight lifting equipment in it. So it can only be occupied by about 15 students at a time. The other gym can only be occupied by about 30 students at a time. And again, this is our existing PE space. We would continue to use the fitness center with our weight machines. So that wouldn't be repurposed, but we can have regular gym programming in the new building, plus the regulation volleyball court in the new building and basketball practice in the new building.
Well, that satisfied my questions. There was just a little typo in the statement of facts with regards to how many organized sports teams. So if you can just correct that.
Yes, so the discrepancy, 12 teams, we have 12 teams or 14 teams if you count varsity basketball versus JV basketball. So considering there's a varsity team and a junior varsity team for basketball, we would have a total of 14 teams.
Okay.
So we can just treat that consistently.
Yeah. Any other questions or comments for the applicant team?
Can you submit this presentation? This is Commissioner Yoon. Can you just submit this presentation with your updated statement of facts?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
To the chair, you raised a question about wanting certain additional drawings or longitudinal sections. Could you just clarify what you were looking for there?
Actually, I don't think that would be needed anymore. I was really trying to see if in any way the mezzanine floor is physically connected to, there is a partial mezzanine on the existing, I think with the existing building, and I don't think that mezzanine level is physically connected to the mezzanine level because there is an open space that's all the way that rises to the second floor or so, or to up beyond the mezzanine level. So that's why I was asking for that longitudinal section to see if there's any way to physically connect the two spaces for access. So I don't think we need that.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? All right. Do you have any other additional things to state, Mr. Sullivan? If not, we can go to the public.
Nope. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, the case we're currently discussing is, wait for the screen to come up, sorry, thank you. 2022-39BZ and 93-10BZ, 188 and 198 Barrett Street, Brooklyn. Should you wish to discuss, dial 646-558-8656 or our toll-free number 888-475-4499. You will enter the webinar ID number 831-8598-5133 and press the pound sign. At the next prompt, you will press the pound sign only. Once you're in, press *9 to raise your hand, *6 to unmute to be able to speak. If you're calling in on the phone, sorry. And if you're in the Zoom room already, please raise your Zoom hand, which is the small hand at the bottom of your computer screen. Once you're acknowledged, you will have 3 minutes in which to discuss.
How much time, Mrs. Sullivan, will you need to update the statement of facts and to submit.
We can submit it this week.
Ms. Benke has her hand up.
Yes, Ms. Benke?
We do have open seeker for this item. They're going to be doing, I believe, phase 2 testing on the adjacent building as requested by DEP. I think that's the only submission, and they have to revise the EAS for air quality and noise. We have a follow-up call with DEP about compliance for the noise condition for the existing building. They don't know anything for that, and we're waiting for DOT for sign off for school safety as well as seeker.
Okay,
So we can't close.
so we can't close.
Oh,
Okay, so we can't close until we have some of these responded to, noise and hazmat. These go towards the finding also. Okay. Do we have an idea as to how much time it would take?
We don't at this point. I assume it'll take at least a month to do the testing and have it approved.
Okay.
Possibly more. So, I mean, we will submit all that information when it is finished, and I think we'll ask for the hearing to be held open until that time.
Okay, month. All right. Thank you. I really appreciate everybody in your team joining and helping in the clarification of some of the questions we had raised. Actually, all the questions we have raised, but we need this, we need all the environmental things cleared away.
Of course.
thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else?
No.
Nothing else? Okay, this concludes the public hearing for July 11th, 2023. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.